All right. Well, thanks for the patience, everybody. We are back with our next matchup of the day. We've got 10-6 Andy Hoang versus 10-6 Rafi Stern. We're at that part of the tournament where repeats haven't quite started yet, so some of the matchups are a little strange as Jackson has played most of the people near the top, as have some of the other big contenders. So we're trying to find matchups that are actionable, that both players have a good shot to make the finals, and that's why we're bringing you Rafi and Andy. Rafi, another one of the all-time good dudes in Scrabble. He's got a really interesting approach to the game. He's got a big background in poker as well, and I'm excited to see what he brings to the table. We've seen Andy on stream a couple times already this tournament, and now we're happy to show you all some Rafi Stern Scrabble as well.
Absolutely. Rafi, of course, known for his beautiful rendition of Baby Beluga. It might be a different Rafi. It's just because I babysit too much. That's the famous Rafi in my life. All right. Interesting to see these two matched up. I'm familiar with Andy's play. I've never actually seen Rafi play. So I'm excited to get to see this particular style you've been talking about. I don't think there are any bingos on that rack that Andy has, unless, in my mind, if it's pronounceable, there's always a chance, but I don't think pluged is a word.
No pluged, but I'm interested to see Pudge, P-U-D-G-E, is a 5. Does it take a D? Does Andy know if it takes a D? Because Pudged would be the best play if it's good. I'm at home with my anagrammer open. I know Pudge does not take a back D. And so Pudge, either just Pudge as a 5 or Gulped look to be Andy's plays. But I'm scared to play Pudge unless I'm certain of the hook. Does it take a Y? Does it take a D? It takes an S, right? So I don't like making any play unless I know the hooks if I have similar plays. And I would definitely opt to play Gulped here. Andy looking at Puddle instead. Chat, let me know how you feel about the letter G, because I know it's a big controversy. But yeah, Andy, you see him squinting, closing his eyes. Oh, is Pudged good? I don't know. I don't want to lose a turn on stream. And I'm not certain how confident Rafi is in his words right now. He's pretty much a staple at Nationals, but doesn't do a ton of Scrabble outside of that for the most part. So would he be confident challenging Pudged? Does he know? Andy gonna just play Pudge. He's holding on to that D, and you can see this could cause issues down the road. Andy wasn't confident enough to play Pudge now, but if he draws a bingo that only fits if he has to play Pudged, will he try it down the road? We will see.
We saw him with that, he clearly knows some of his hooks here, because yesterday we saw him playing Jackson with that whole, what was the word? Something with hooking that S in the triple lane in the bottom left corner. Speaka, that was the word.
Pika to Speaka, and Andy
he
just
messaged me
had
on
like
Facebook
a mental
to tell me
breakdown.
Yes, the whole time he was thinking, gosh, Jackson has to have 2 S's. He told me that was, of course, what he was thinking. And I said, we were right there with you, following along with your thought process.
Yeah, that was a interesting situation for sure, and perhaps a failure on Jackson's part. Failure also a play Rafi could make here down to the E. He has no good scoring options, but Fur, F-U-R, playing either on top or underneath the E in Pudge for 12, holds A-I-L-R. Figural, F-I-G-U-R-A-L, another potential play for Rafi here, or something small and silly like Frug, F-R-U-G, to the G in Pudge, but he has terrible anti-synergy here, just an absolute lack of scoring options, and he's going to have to do something to try to get out of this.
Yeah, it looks like he was maybe looking at Frugal a second ago. Now I think he's thinking, should I just get rid of the F-U-R? L-I-A-R is a great leave. Big fan of Frug, just because this is a deep musical theater cut, but if anyone else is a Sweet Charity fan, let me know in the Twitch stream. I think that's going to be probably a hard crossover to make of my Scrabble streamers and Sweet Charity fans, but it's a great musical.
I can't say I'm well-versed in musical theater. I'm a stereotype buster, but alas, Andy drawing into a bingo after his Pudge play, so he'll have Lipids, L-I-P-I-D-E-S, an alternate spelling of L-I-P-I-D. He's already shown us that he sees it as he set it up on his rack right away. And we will see what Rafi does, but I think almost any play is going to allow Andy to bingo next turn. It's just a matter of for how many points. Rafi is going with the boring but obvious fur play here. Sometimes you just have nothing good and you have to score 12 points and hold a mediocre leave in AILR and hope that good things happen. It's a sad play, but it's really all he's got. Andy now can play lipids in 3 spots. He can play with furl or with furs, both for 77, or make EFS for 72. And I can't imagine there's much to think about. This has to be the best place to play it right there, making furs. Don't open up a triple if you don't need to. And there we go. Andy, 77 points. Going to push him up to 101 to Rafi's 12. And this is where I like to tongue-in-cheek ask my opponent, so you got 101 to 12. Awesome. Thanks.
That is quite the mind game to be playing. Also, shout out to our friend G.I. Joel, who did pick up on my reference. So it wasn't lost on everyone.
Yeah, so,
all right, so
Rafi has both QI and QI, the no-brainer 65 pointer, but also equal from the E in lipids for 72. Equal far and away the best play here. So I'm not sure Rafi has spotted it yet. Maybe going to make sure he's not missing a double-double through the U or a bingo out of this rack. But yep, takes his time and then drops equal down 72 points in response to Andy's 77-point bingo. And we are off to the races here. Andy now AIRSTVY on his rack, and he can respond to
right?
Rafi's non-bingo. I'm sorry?
Oh, I think he has varsity, but I'm not sure if it plays somewhere.
Yeah, that is brutal. It does not play. It's varsity, but no bingo available for him. And Rafi with a really nice post-bingo draw as well, CEIMNOR, which is incomer, and a number of 8s as well. So
looks like Andy's showing us that at least that he sees it.
Good job,
I also
Andy.
like that Andy reveals his tiles one at a time. He's really upping our dramatic value here. Given that he can't play varsity anywhere, what do you think is the next best option for him? How many of these tiles should he try to hold on to?
It depends. You know, you've got Ivy from the I in lipids, 18 points, holds AIRST. Board is okay for bingos, not great, but not bad. I'd like to have a floating E if I'm going to hold AIRST. Of course, the letters in satire synergizing very well. You've also got a nice play in aviary, AVIARY, through the A and equal. That's 28, holding ST, or privy, PRIVY from the P in pudge, scoring 26 and holding AST. The Andy I know as a Scrabble player, granted I haven't played him in about 4 years, would absolutely jump on the opportunity to play Ivy here and hold the nice balanced AIRST. But Andy, his rating has really changed for the better over the last year, and we'll see if his strategy has changed with it, or if he's still kind of the aggressive, I'm going to try to bingo on you frequently player who likes his good balanced leaves.
And you know, it's not that privy leaves a bad, undesirable leave. I mean, it's perhaps a little riskier just because you're playing more tiles, but the good news for him is he certainly is going to have a good leave no matter which of these. He won't have a bad leave, I guess I should say. I guess that's different than saying he'll have a good leave, but he won't have a bad leave no matter which of these plays he decides on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, both of these players, they've drawn 7s on their racks. Their 7s aren't going to fit anywhere on this board, but they're going to be able to score points and hold well and do decent for themselves next turn. So, you know, if you're not going to bingo, you'd at least like to be able to make plays that score well and hold well. And both of these players with an opportunity to do that. I'm just curious to see. This is a tough decision for Andy. I'm most privy to playing Ivy here, if nothing else, because it holds the front T for Tivy that I'm holding for next turn. And that was not pun intended. I just used the word privy.
Oh, I was like, wow, he's fast.
Wow, no,
See, I'm more Ivy to play
my
privy.
bad puns. I don't deserve credit there.
It was pun intentional.
Oh my goodness, very good.
Yeah, I'll see myself out. Sorry.
I'm gonna send cookies to your house. That was wonderful.
Thank you. Also love cookies. I love this concept of my also getting treats like your dog.
All right,
All right,
Andy
looks like he's
is
gonna go for Ivy.
you're kind of shaking his head like I don't want to fish right now, but Ivy I think is the right play because you're holding Ivy. If you miss the bingo, it's probably because you picked up some clunkers, so you can clunk those clunkers down on the other side and try to bingo again next turn. Both players now.
Absolutely. It's kind of like when Rafi played Fur, where it's like, listen, we know that you know more impressive words. We saw that you saw varsity Andy, but oh, and he picked perfectly well. Um, but sometimes the simplest play is also the right one.
Yeah. In this case, I think it is. So that's what we'll see what he's able to do next turn. AEIKRST. So obviously you want to pick up an E into AIRST, and he's done just that. Rafi frustratedly trying to find bingos here. His rack looks so promising and so prone. Incomer the 7 with numerous 8s, but he doesn't have any of the floaters that he needs. No possibility for him
I
to
saw
bingo.
him put on his rack earlier, recoming, which maybe he would consider trying, but I'm sure he knows that's not good. Maybe the best move for him here is something like playing off the OM off of lipids just for the sake of, you get a few points, you have a pretty decent leave. I don't know if that makes sense to block that lane, but he's certainly going to take his time here and make sure he's not missing a bingo.
Yeah, you got to take your time. Again, I'm not certain how much of an anagram machine Rafi is. He's a great player, but some of the players in this field will see all of the bingos in their rack immediately. I'm not sure that Rafi is one of those people, but perhaps he is. Anyway, we know at home no playable bingos for Rafi, and he's going to have to decide what to do next. It looks like another very boring but very standard play. Probably just drop OM somewhere alongside Lipids for 24 points, holding CEINR. That IN good for the G floating in Pudge. CEINR also synergizing quite well with both the floating A in Equal and the U in Pudge. So, yeah, we will see. But I think OM got to be the play here. Yep, here it comes. And both players sadly not able to play their 7s, but able to keep themselves in bingo range. And Andy now with his Satire plus K-Rack has 4 bingos available to him. The outstanding one, obviously, from the L in Equal is Larkiest, and it's coming down right away. 89 points for Andy, and Rafi would love to respond to this bingo with his own. What's he going to draw? ACEEINR. So he will also be able to respond with a bingo after Andy's play of Larkiest, but his bingo going to be much sadder, lower scoring, and potentially gets him hammered back. Only playable bingo for Rafi is from the D in Pudge, can play Deracine, DERACINE, 65 points compared to Andy's 89, and going to give Andy a huge opportunity to capitalize on a triple word. What's Andy going to draw? Is he going to be able to hit that spot? BEH, so far so good. AWUT. So yeah, Andy going to be able to hit that spot pretty hard with some of those clunky consonants. And yeah, we're kind of off to the races here. Rafi's going to take his time, do his diligence, but I can't imagine he doesn't see Deracine, at least eventually. I believe that word was added somewhat recently, either 2014 or 2018, but surely Rafi knows that it's so high prob, he'll find it after he takes his time and makes sure he has to play the really sad low-scoring bingo instead of anything else.
Looks like, yeah, he is definitely taking his time to see if there's any more desirable option for him here. For Andy, really all he needed was one of that W or H or B to make that triple spot worth it, and he'll be able to do something great there.
Yeah, here
Which is
comes
just unfortunate
Deracine.
for Rafi that, you don't get to enjoy the fruits of your labor of finally getting to bingo for that long, as you're going to be scored against pretty quickly.
Yeah, and Andy going to be able to respond. WHEAT through the E plays for 45. I think that's got to be his next play. Nothing else scores super well there. Again, if I'm Andy, I'll sit there, take my time, make sure I'm not missing a good 6 or anything else. But again, anagrammer in tow, I know that WHEAT can be the highest scoring play through that E. If he wants to be crazy, throw this board wide open, be aggressive. He's also got the nice WAUCHT through the C in Deracine, or he can play Wheats, WHEATS, to the S in Larkiest for 40. But he'll take his time, try to find the best play through that E. And of course, that best play we know is wheat. Nothing other, no other great plays. And here it comes, wheat for Andy. Back to Rafi, whose post bingo draw of DLNNOOT is rather sad.
Definitely sad. And, he's back to being a whole bingo behind, which has just got to be frustrating when you finally bingoed yourself. And now you're right back to where you were. He's definitely going to want to get rid of one of those ends. Not a huge scoring opportunities that I'm seeing that just jump out at me. Of course, that's not to say too much, but it'll be interesting to see what he chooses to do here. I don't think he has any double doubles that can reach through that A, unless I'm mistaken. Oh, he's going for non-wheat. That's pretty. Is that a word?
No, it's not a word.
Well, if it were a word, that would be really pretty. He played it confidently, which I'm sure he knows from his poker thing is very important. Oh, and Andy's just
Andy
absolutely
accepting the play. Great.
You know what? I have to
job by
say, this is
Rafi.
where that poker experience might be really useful for Rafi, because he said, listen, even if I'm not sure it's a word, I'm going to play it very confidently and quickly, and I'm not going to give any tells. And I believed it when he put it down.
Yeah. Wow. So Rafi picking up about 20 to 25 points of equity, taking a garbage situation and turning it into a great one. This is why I love NWL play, because I love double challenge. And Collins throw a nickel at that and it comes off the board. But there's just this extra layer of strategy to me that comes with this. And Rafi, I bet he doesn't think that's a word, but he just recognized it is so much better than anything else I see. And I have a split second to make this decision. I need to put it down now to make it look like an obvious no-brainer play. And he sneaks one by Andy Hoang, 42 points. I love it. I love it, Rafi. I told you we were going to like watching him on stream.
It's true. I don't even think
why.
Andy held.
I don't think so either. Yeah,
But
a
I get
lot
it.
of the
He played it
time.
so confidently. And now they both have these, pretty bingo friendly tiles. I think for Andy, the problem is if he doesn't bingo with these, what does he want to get rid of? What does he want to keep? And where does he rack up some points? I'm not seeing a place. I mean, you're the one with
Yeah,
Crackle.
two good options here. One, as he's got set up now, BOURNS to the S in Larkiest.
Right.
The other, the double BARONNE for 36, but it holds
Which
a U.
he now set up. So, and the other nice thing about that is it does at least kind of shut down that double lane. If you can't double with bingo, might as well get some points and make sure your opponent can't.
Yeah. And Rafi, the fruits of his labor pay off as he picks up a blank after his bluff of a phony, and he'll have Diglot with a blank. So big swing in this game. Diglots does not play as the way this board is currently shaped. He does have dogtails through the A. And so if Andy plays BOURNS, Rafi to bingo back. But if Andy picks the double here, there will be no playable bingos for Rafi. So Andy may not know it, two plays that look roughly similar in terms of equity, but one play going to be a lot better for him in this one iteration. And I'm very curious to see what he decides to do. Big pivotal moment in this game.
Absolutely. I think Andy will ultimately pick, okay, he's going for bouncer. I was thinking that's another option. I guess you'd rather keep the N than the U. And the nice thing about bouncer too is that it blocks both of those possible 8 lanes with the A and the I and the C, frankly. It does a little bit of a better job of blocking. Certainly you're sacrificing points, but I think that might have been a smart move by Andy just for the sake of kind of shutting things down. He sees that there are those 2 blanks still left, and he is right to be concerned because we know that Rafi has really nice bingo friendly tiles.
Yeah, no bingos available for Rafi after bouncer either. Dogtail, one of the only things he could have done. And so he's going to take some time for sure, looking through that U, looking to the P, looking at the L, looking at every possible opportunity. But us at home, we know no playable bingos for Rafi. And he's got to go from happy to sad. Yeah, I picked up this blank, but dang, I'm not scoring almost anything here. His best play, probably God underneath bouncer for 20 points.
Also, probably his best method at this point, prayer. No, I think God makes sense. It gives him a really nice leave. We're kind of running out of spots for bingoing. I guess we have a good number of 8 lanes available, but we're running out of spots for just good old fashioned 7-letter bingo.
Yeah. Rafi's going to spend a good amount of time on this turn, but nothing happening. He's got to be looking at out through the U or just anything else. But tough break, no bingos, God or something sad is what's gonna end up happening. And Andy picking up EEIJNRT might be able to cash in that J for a good amount of points, depending on what Rafi does.
Yeah, I think God is the move here. Um, I guess I could see the merit of keeping the G with that I, and although most of the N's are gone at this point, doing something to get rid of the L instead. But either way, you're not going to have any really high scoring opportunities this turn.
Yeah. Looking at the unseen pool, maybe you consider GID instead of God, GID in the same spot. But there are 4 I's, 4 O's unseen, as well as 4 E's, 5 A's, and 0 U's. So we'll see. I wonder if Rafi thinking about phonying again here, but this I don't think is as good a situation to play a phony. Your phony bingo, such as something like Outglide, would put you ahead. And I think that makes it easier for Andy to challenge. I find that one of the best places to play a phony is when you're down 70 to 100 points, because your opponent is always so afraid, if I lose a turn now, you're going to take the lead. So I'll just nurse
Absolutely.
my 40-point lead and continue. And that's exactly what Rafi did with non-wheat. And that's probably why he got away with it without even a hold. Rafi putting down God, staring very sadly at the board, but finally does what we know is the best play here. And Andy now to respond, EEIJNRT. Here's a fun rack because the equity play here is just dump JE, hold EINRT, good, nice, balanced leave. And yet on this board, where's EINRT going to bingo? Especially when you
Exactly.
play JEE to the E in Larkiest. So it's sort of a trap play. You get caught up fishing and you fish for something that you can't do. Yeah, it's possible. There are some bingo lines. You can bingo to the L in lipids or through the P in pudge, but those are very hard to hit. You'd have to have a wonderful fit to make it go there. So I think Andy's best play here actually has him play off additional tiles. I'm privy to the play GEA or JEAN through the A and equal. Score 29. Yeah, EIRT is worse than EINRT, but on this board, not really, And you could
And he
also
does
play longer and try to get one of those 2 unseen blanks with a play like EJITS, EEJITS, to the S and Larkiest. So a big
that
play
could be
for
fun.
Andy.
One thing that's nice about Egypt is it makes it even more difficult to use that U to bingo through. And then your only options really are the P of Pudge and the L of Lipids, or I guess you could do something ending in a G. But again, Andy can just continue to limit these options.
Yeah, the EINRT is actually potentially good because you can bingo down to the G, but you get a sad 62-point bingo, and then your opponent gets a triple opportunity. It's just like what Rafi did with Daracine. Yeah, he got a sad 62-pointer and then got hit back for 45. Is that a bingo you want to fish for to the G?
Right, exactly. Is it
Not,
worth
not
sacrificing points for something like that? Probably not.
Andy looking at another option that I like quite a bit here too, Jiver, Jiver, through the V and Ivy. A nice little fit, 27 points, but gets smacked hard if your opponent has one of the 4 unseen O's, as any dumb little dinky play in response will hit you for a lot of points. So Jiver, a good idea, but not the play here. I like Gene or Egypts, and Andy electing to play Egypts. He's going to go digging for a blank. I like this idea. And if he pulls one, he's in great position in this game. But he doesn't know that the other one is on Rafi's rack and not in the bag, as Rafi with silted and a blank. And he may bingo this turn. I'm not going to say it out loud right now, but there is exactly one playable bingo for Rafi, and he's going to have to take his time and try to find it. It's sneaky. It's a little bit tough to find. And
Geez,
I'm
I've
also
got Visible open and I still haven't found it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Let's see.
Rafi doing what everybody else is doing right now, and Jocelot finally finding it. It is Solitude
There we
through
go.
the U in Pudge with the 2 overlaps. Rafi's going to take his time, look at every available line, look at the U in Equal, look at the P in Pudge, look at the L in Lipids, probably look for 9s as well here. We know that that none are available, but Solitude will be Rafi's only bingo this turn. It's going to be big if he finds it. He needs to
That
find it.
is a tough find. Now, here's the question. If he doesn't find solitude, which sounded so poetic, what is his move here? What does he do if he can't find that?
Yeah, no, it's tough. One option is just plunk the tile T in front of Ivy, make Tivy and Tom
Yep.
for 15. But kind of what we talked about with Andy's last position, what's the point of fishing? Rafi has one of the best racks you could possibly have, and almost has no playable bingos, just the one. So why fish? But then otherwise, what's he going to do? He's stuck in the sticks, all 1 and 2
Right.
pointers. He can play lived through the V and Ivy for 22, hold ST blank. Lived has no front hooks, so actually a fairly defensive play. But yeah, what do you do if you don't find this bingo? Everything sucks. You don't want to fish, but you've got this blank and you can't bingo with it. And do you try to open the board up for yourself? What if Andy has the other blank and he bingos and closes a board back down? It's a tough position for Rafi, and he really, really needs to find Solitude
Oh,
right on
and he
cue.
did.
Right on cue.
Oh, I'm
Excellent job.
incredibly impressed.
And that's going to pull him back into this game. He's down just 1 point after Solitude, 307
That
to
was
306.
beautiful.
A blank still unseen to both players. Andy did not draw it despite going deep into the bag with those 5 tile plays. And now Andy unable to score, another blank unseen. Rafi pulling 7 tiles out of the bag. That's a huge swing. And if Rafi pulls
Ooh.
that second blank, he's in the driver's seat in this game. Otherwise, I'd say we're at close to a 50-50 game. Finally, we get some action after 2 sad drubbings on this board. What is Rafi going to pull? I, O, V, G, B, O, and an F.
Oh,
Ooh,
yuck.
hoping
Oh
for a
man, so
blank,
there's
and
still
we
that
get
blank in the bag.
huge. Yuck, yuck, yuck. So a blank still in the bag for both players. 21 tiles in the bag from Andy and Rafi's perspective. So it's going to be huge who can pull that. And Andy's got to decide now, how many of these tiles do I play off? Again, standard equity out of this rack. ACENR is a great leave. I'm going to play off AE and try to bingo next turn, except there aren't many
Where?
great bingo lines. You can bingo through the S or the O or the L on Solitude, I suppose, even through the I if your word fits perfectly. But what if Rafi blocks next turn with the little 3 tile play on either side of Solitude? Now
Which
there are no
frankly
bingo
is,
lines.
I think, would be in Rafi's best interest to do. I think it's probably in both of their best interests, since they can't see each other's tiles, to try and shut down that lane. On the other hand, what happens if I shut down that lane? Rafi somehow gets a 30 or 40 point play somewhere, and then I'm the one playing catch up. So it's kind of a tricky situation.
And let's get the unseen tile pool up here for everybody to kind of mull on what possibilities are left and how good fishing is. You can see quite a few bingo prone tiles, a few clunkers as well, HWYZ, that blank huge, and a bunch of A's and a bunch of O's, which are good consonants for scoring. Obviously, a bingo for either one of these players could be the difference between winning and losing this game. But will a bingo come down, or will this come down to who can hit the biggest scoring plays between now and then? Oh man, I have no idea who's going to win this game, and I'm loving it. And if I'm
Oh,
Andy,
me too.
this is such a hard turn.
I know.
How do
It's
we
such a
approach
tricky
this game?
decision. Does he do something like Kane, maybe?
I
Or
think I'm
Crane?
privy to Raja here,
That's what I
Raja.
was thinking too. Because with,
Raja,
there are all these A's in the bag, you're going to score some points. The only thing is, hey, am I going to be leaving open this 8 that I could so easily have blocked? That's tricky. That's a tough call. I wish I could say to Andy, like, hey, you're fine. Go ahead and play Raja. Oh, that's going to be a tough decision for him. Now, where is he looking to play ACE?
Ace is going to play in a couple places. ACE on top of Ivy making AY is 20 points. AENR a good leave. But if Rafi hits you with a 40-point play, what do you do back? And I think Andy
Exactly.
doesn't really want to make that play, but in the absence of other good plays, what do? You can
I
play
mean,
A,
there's still
B,
that
E.
Z out there, which would scare me a little bit.
Yeah, the
He's
Z.
gonna have a very cute fit in the bottom left corner too, with Bozo.
Yeah, the Bozo spot is there, but it would have to be set up as nothing fits between O, D, and N like that.
Mhm.
So I saw that possibility as well, but without setting it up a little bit better, not much you
Okay,
can
so
do.
he's going for Kane, which, that's a tough call to make. It's like I so rather would get to play Raja or even something like, I don't know, Creek to the K, but I totally get why he plays Kane. He is nervous that Rafi has these incredible tiles. Of course, Rafi has what he needs to take advantage of Kane more than he had an 8, but how would Andy know that? Wow, the blank's still in the bag.
Yeah. Neither player wants to draw it, just like the Paul versus Trey game yesterday, where it was the last tile pulled out of the bag by Trey
Wow.
Wright and ended up being the difference. Rafi gets a huge bailout of his bad rack. Andy's play of Kane, which he thought maybe whacked some of those lines, instead gives Rafi a great play. And Vog comes down. Rafi pulls ahead by 13. Andy stuck in the sticks once again, bingo prone tiles on a board with minimal bingo opportunity. And Rafi getting to hold that F and that B makes it really easy for him to continue scoring points. This game, I don't think, is going to come down to the blank. I think it's going to come down to who can score more points, and Rafi's certainly in the driver's seat to do that. If Andy draws the blank, how is he going to open the board to capitalize on it? And if Rafi draws the
Absolutely.
blank, he doesn't need a bingo. He just cashes in the F, cashes in the B. I think this game comes down to scoring, and it might come down to the Z. Whoever draws the Z could score very well with it.
That's true. And that being said, I think it's probably in Andy's interest to play as many tiles as he can just to up his chances of getting that Z. I think you have to kind of abandon hope of bingoing at this point. I'm not even seeing where someone would possibly do that.
Andy
Okay, so
playing Ryal here, he actually needs to put those same tiles down one space to the left, make Rival in the same spot for additional points. Again, I like what Andy's doing here. You can't get caught up looking for a bingo that doesn't fit. You've got to score. But Rival, a much better way to do that than Ryal in the same spot.
okay, he got the X, which I completely forgot is also still out
Oh,
there.
wow. Yeah, did not see that. It looked like a Y to me, but X also going to help him
Okay,
score.
so
And
great. Maybe he
anorexia.
can rack up some points. It looks like he's like, oh, somewhere to play anorexia, but he's going to pretty quickly learn, just like with what was the word he had earlier that was so good that we can play varsity. That more important is just going to be getting points and catching back up. I mean, this is like the stuff that Twitch streaming Scrabble games or dreams are made of, because we've got this 3-point difference right now with just a handful of tiles in the bag.
Anorexia actually fits on the board as well from the A in Daracene. Again, sneaky bingo line. And
Ooh.
also, should that get blocked with a play like Batik, which I think Rafi is going to play here, Andy crucially picked up that N, the last N in the game, to hit ING bingos down to the G and Pudge. So big
Not to
swing,
mention,
big
he can
pull.
definitely capitalize on BATIK with his X. You could play something as simple as Ox there and really catch up in some of those points.
BATTIK is also valid,
Ah,
and I think
okay.
in this situation, that's the one Rafi would prefer to play. Just score a little bit more, play off another tile, go digging for a blank X or Z, and don't give back as many opportunities. So a huge decision for Rafi. He doesn't have many other options, perhaps AB in the bottom left corner, making GAN and Bobo. But FIOTT is not the leave you want to keep in a situation where you're trying to score points without maybe bingoing. Batik, I think, is the right play for Rafi, independent of Andy's rack, and absolutely with knowledge of Andy's rack. Huge decision. You see Andy kind of rocking in his chair. He needs this bingo to not get blocked. He needs to have anorexia fit in. And wow, tense moment for both players.
Now, given that anorexia is likely to be blocked, could I throw out just a wild option for Andy, which is he is the last R. Could he play Axe off of playing AMI off of lipids and set himself up for getting down that triple lane with the R and maybe scoring some points?
Ooh, that's crafty. Yeah. AMI takes the front R for Rami, and that would be huge. But also huge, Rafi electing to play Batik and with the two Ts to avoid Andy's X bomb. Huge play for Rafi to keep him alive in this game. Where is that blank? Where's that Z?
I have a feeling
Rafi
we're about to see
likely to
him.
pick up at least one of them, as Rafi's play had 10 in the bag and will pull 5 of the 10 remaining tiles. Andy can still capitalize under Batik. AXE is 37 points. Or, as Hannah suggested, AX and AMI to set up his R. But with the blank unseen, can he do that? The unseen pull to him as well. Only 4 vowels and FHMWYZ. If I'm Andy, scoring points is something Rafi is certainly going to be able to do. Is AXE enough to outrun him? Holding that IN, can I pull something down to the G? This is a tight game. Andy's next pull is going to be huge and important.
And we have the benefit of knowing that Andy is likely to pull a blank in that next hole, right?
Yeah, AXE holding INOR with that G available. If he picks up the blank and bingo's down, that's going to be huge. But Rafi, with the Z on his rack, may be able to score a lot of points and survive it, or at least make this a close game. My goodness. Andy, I think he's got to play AXE here. He'll draw
I think so
3 of
too.
the 5 tiles. You see him counting right now. I think he has to know if Rafi has the blank, I'm all but dead unless I pull a great bingo. I need to draw that blank this turn, and I need maybe not to bingo, but I need to avoid big plays from Rafi. IN is so synergistic all of a sudden with the floating G. AXE is a great play. What is he going to pull? It all comes down to what 3 tiles Andy grabs out of that bag.
Here's the other thing with the AXE is he's got to block Rafi from somehow taking that spot. I mean, I'm not seeing what a huge Z play he could make there, but I would be inclined to not leaving that area of the board open.
We know in the bag is HMWY blank. So we'll see what Andy gets out of those. But their
Like we need a
consonants are
drum roll.
so clunky, perhaps he won't even get to bingo with some of the clunkers. Let's see what he gets. Big moment in this game. Andy,
Wow, he
shake,
is really
shake,
digging
shake,
into
shake,
that tile bag.
shake,
I don't
shake.
really know if that strategy does anything, but
W or MHY.
oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Wow. So Rafi, I think, is going to be very scared looking at the unseen pool, HIMNORWY blank. And what could there be down to the G? What bingos are
Okay.
there?
The question
Woman?
now is Rafi. He's got a 1 in 2 chance, right?
Oh, Bozo, great. Don't empty the bag. Yeah, drop the Z.
Is he
And
going
what
to
is
get
he
the
going to
blank?
pull?
Drum roll.
No, the
Oh,
blank is in the bag.
oh
Again.
my gosh. And they both, I'm sure, are confident their opponent is the one with the blank. Looks like Andy is considering something like rhyming just to block that lane because it's kind of the only lane left. Whew, that might be a smart decision.
What?
That's wild.
Wow. Okay. This is a game.
It's anyone's game,
Unfortunate
really. I
Andy.
think if Andy plays rhyming, like, I don't know if Rafi can get enough points to then counter Andy going out with an O and a blank.
No. The best play for Rafi would be Frows, FROWS, through the R and rhyming, would score 21, rhyming to put Andy up by 7 points, and does not actually win this game very often for him. In fact, the only way he can win after rhyming is to pull the blank.
Exactly. That's what's so wild about it. We know that yes, he's got it in the bag, but that's with the knowledge that we have. So if you don't have that knowledge, then what is your best move here?
Yeah. I mean, you can go through and figure out in every situation, in this situation, one in the bag, if I draw this, his rack is this. If I draw this, his rack is this. And you go through one at a time and calculate 1 out of 8, 2 out of 8, 3 out of 8, I win. But Andy's only got 4 minutes, less than 4 minutes. He's just going to pull the trigger on rhyming right now, which is actually one of the worst options he has. Several plays appear to win 4 or even 5 out of 8 possible draws. This only wins with a blank draw. And yet, that is exactly what he's going to pull, and he should hold on to win this game. Wow.
Now, what would be the play if he hadn't drawn the blank?
Has Andy? Oh, Andy's put it face down. He's given us our suspense and our confidence.
Right.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Oh, I'm just curious because to me, rhyming seems like such a good move. What are the high-scoring plays with that blank had Andy not drawn it?
Quackle may not be perfect in these situations, but Quackle liked something like MHO underneath Egypt for 28. Looking back at it, I think Quackle probably derped in that situation. I don't know what. I don't know. Quackle's saying stuff like RIM and Caner, RIMY and Caner, RHO or MHO underneath Egypt all win, and 4 out of 8 draws. MON underneath Egypt winning in 5 out of 8 draws. I'm not smart enough to figure all of this out, but Andy now with that blank, obviously, I don't know why he hasn't put it on his right. There he goes. But Rafi obviously knows the blank is unseen. Rafi probably also realizing here, did I miss it? Is that what Andy just drew? Rhyming is a weird play otherwise, but wow, the inability by both players to pick up the blank until the last tile in the bag is huge. And Rafi probably staring down now, I cannot win this game. Doing the math, but Frowz is going to score 21 points, putting Rafi up by 14, and Andy able to go out with OS underneath Egypt or OD or O, make the blank whatever you want, for 13, and that'll catch Rafi with some enough points on his rack. Andy to win by 5 if Rafi plays this end game optimally.
Wow. I mean, that was, we say luck of the draw, right? And this is in a complete literal sense. I am curious what the odds actually are if Rafi had that blank, but gosh, I mean, now there's no way. I mean, Andy has to be so relieved. He gave himself a dramatic reveal. It wasn't just for our sake. We saw him waiting to flip that blank over. That must have been a very relieving moment to know, hey, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah. Wild game. Well played by both players for sure. And it really came down to that blank at the end. I told you it wouldn't. I told you it would come down to the Z. I lied.
It's also going to be interesting. I think it'll make the blow of knowing he let non-wheat go so easily a little bit easier for Andy, since he's probably going to win this game by a few points.
Yeah, wow. So back and forwards game, several curious decisions, maybe not the best move, but Andy picking up the second blank is going to do just enough to hold on here against Rafi. Rafi got to do everything he can, figure out how to play the W and the F together. What is the most points I can score? But all he's got is Frowz up top. Quackle, Cesar in chat is saying that Macondo actually really likes rhyming, so perhaps Quackle wasn't able to solve this game out exactly right. But from my perspective, Quackle saying rhyming wins in 1 out of 8 draws and ties in 1 out of 8 draws, and that's all. So I'm curious to see how Quackle and Macondo are different here. I'm sure somebody can tell me who knows stuff about computers and iterations. I know things about pharmaceuticals and drugs and human health and a couple things about Scrabble, but that's all I got. So somebody smart, fill me in on why rhyming wins all the time and Quackle's wrong on that.
Let me explain. Just kidding. I have no idea. I've got what do I have? Musical theater and puns.
Musical theater and puns, though, are 2 vastly underrated skills.
Well, are they, or do they make for the most annoying undergrad?
Cesar saying words that I sort of understand. Macondo solves the pre-endgame exhaustively. I don't think Quackle does that. Macondo solves all however many thousand endgames in parallel. Yep. Okay. That's what he said. So that's the answer. Don't ask me what that means.
All right. It's just writing on the wall here for Rafi. I almost wish we could tell him, hey, bud, you lost the game. Like, don't exhaust yourself too much here.
You know who else lost the game? All of you. All of you just lost the game. But If you know what I'm talking about, you're mad at me. And if you don't worry. It's okay.
Looks like he's trying to find a place to dump Wolf. I think you have to know Andy's going out no matter what.
Yeah. Woof or woofs and SOP looks reasonable. I don't know. Rafi has no wins here, but use every second on your clock. Make sure you know you're dead, and then finally accept defeat only at the last possible second.
Absolutely. And by last possible second, we mean in the next minute and 24 seconds.
Wow, I need a break after that one. That was intense and dicey. You got to feel for Rafi. He has to know that the blank was the last tile in the bag.
It was
He
a
did
hard
everything he could in this
game.
game. I don't think he made a single move that was not correct the entire game. Andy maybe making a few questionable decisions. Rafi, I would say, played a positive equity game. Some players say they played perfectly. I think Rafi played plus 20 this game. Not only did he play perfectly, he manufactured points on the non-wheat play. So he
Right.
played better than perfectly and still going to drop the game on stream. Sad day. Andy, of course, a couple questionable decisions, letting non-wheat go, the big one, and then a few turns I'm not necessarily saying are wrong. Maybe Ryal, R-Y-A, or R-I-Y-A-L was wrong, but Andy did a great job not taking the bait, not getting caught up fishing, not playing JEE and EINRT, fishing for that, and did exactly what he needed to and picked up the blank and holds on to win this game narrowly. Rafi finding the best end game in Frow's, and Andy to go out with a number of 13-point plays with JO, and he'll win this game by a total of 5 points. 418 to 413 will be the final after that sequence.
Andy might drag it out a little bit for us, take his time, but we both know that 13 is the max he can get here. He's got a number of places to get that. I think he's probably just going to drop that O below the J and then make the blank any number of consonants.
Andy chatting with Rafi, certainly confirming the score. I would have used Rafi's turn to recount the entire game. It appears Andy's going to do that right now instead. Why not? You've got 3 minutes. Make sure you don't lose to a recount after the game. For those of you newer to Scrabble, players have to keep score themselves. There is no artificial intelligence to do that, so players just verbally announce the scores. I always double count plays when my opponent tells me the score, but many players just kind of take you at face. You said it's 21? Okay. And you just kind of go on. But recounts are allowed. You go back after the game, recount every play, and make sure the scores are correct. Everybody's got that story of when they lost on a recount. They are sad and tragic. But Andy making sure he's not going to lose to one here. He will play O blank as his last 2 tiles and barely hangs on to win 418 to 413. This will bring Andy up to 11 and 6, bump Rafi down to 10 and 7. But I'm glad we got to see Rafi on stream. I think a very solid play, or very solidly played game by him. And cool stuff from Division 1 at the Scrabble Players Championship in Las Vegas, New York. This game used a lot of
Las Vegas, Nevada.
Las Vegas, Nevada. Yes, Albany, New York, Las Vegas, Nevada. Please, somebody give me a break. I've been doing too much commentary. Just kidding. I'm having a great time. We'll be right back as I top off my coffee and give my dog some pets. We'll have one more matchup for y'all before the lunch break, and we'll go back to more Scrabble after the game. I think Rafi's saying, non-wheat, I don't like it. You can look it up if you want. But we'll cut to break and be back with more Scrabble in a few minutes. Y'all don't go anywhere. I'm Matt Canik, joined by Hannah Lieberman. See you in a few.